Oops, Sergey's on the move. He's on the move. Ooh, he's getting comfy.
So, hello everyone. It's nice to see all of you. Jay, Tony Bologna, Sergey. Today we are going to present the first BitClout Virtual Music Collective, which comprises Jay Stanfield, Tony Bologna, Sergey Meister, and Jar, who isn't with us today because he's on holidays and he can't join us. But I'm sure that the rest of the crew will do their best job to present the group and their first collaboration playing games. And first of all, I would like to talk with everyone about your music career, about your journey in this field of activity. I'm pretty sure you have a lot to share with the audience. And I would like to start it with Jay, who has a great bio with a long list of achievements. Jay, can you share with us a few words about yourself and your accomplishments in the music field?
I can. Thank you for the introduction. It's lovely to be here. So I've been creating music and doing most of it, pretty much DIY, very, similar to what we've done with this release, really. For the last 28 years. 28 years.
Yeah.
Which is a long time. And I started when I was very young, when I got a keyboard when I was like 8 or whatever. But I come from I came from a small town called Nelson, which is in Lancashire in the UK. I was, raised by two quite liberal parents, if we'll call them that, who were, around in the 60s, the swinging 60s, a couple of hippies, really, my mum and dad. And they bought me a keyboard. So I just started there. And then just my career just went on from there, really. Started a band when I was 14. And we ended up signing to, so we used to record all our own music at home on a Yamaha 8-track cassette recorder, just at the back of my mum and dad's dining room. And we used to, make our own tapes and sell them at our gigs. And people used to love them because we were like one of the only local bands making cassette demos. And our fans were just like, this is for me, I want a demo. And they used to go crazy. We used to make the covers, we'd collage the covers for the cassette covers, and then we'd sell them at the gigs that we used to play. And we ended up starting selling out shows locally, and then we signed to a label in Glasgow because we sent a tape to a label in Glasgow who eventually called Creeping Bent, and they eventually, they basically got us on, got us 2 John Peel sessions. The legend that is John Peel on Radio 1 in like 2000. And it just progressed from there. We released albums, we did plenty of shows, built a massive name for ourselves in Manchester. So we were classed as one of the, Manchester bands really at the time when the Manchester music scene was really thriving. And that was us. So time went on, we split up, started another band called Say Jansfield. So I kind of went solo. And then that grew, and we did, we toured Hamburg. We ended up getting a deal with a German label who put a 7-inch out for us, which was amazing. So we did gig in record shop and stuff. And then, again, I'm 41. There's a lot to talk about in my music career. So the highlights, I suppose, are that, and I've supported Mike and the Mechanics. I'm in a band now called All Hail Hyena. We've supported bands like Grandaddy and Ultrasound, and still making music. And it's just been an absolutely fantastic journey so far for me. I threw in the towel on solo music a few years ago because I was finding it very deflating. I know you know, if you're in the music industry and if you're creating and you're doing it DIY, because you're not on a label and you're doing it DIY, a lot of the time it can be very frustrating. And I had so much on because I'm self-employed. Because I had so much on, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. It just felt like you're putting a lot of effort into something for not much return, emotional return. So I was just focusing on All Hail Hyena, which is the punk rock garage math pop band that I'm in. And you know, arriving here with these guys is just brilliant. It's like being able to contribute vocals and keyboard and stuff. It just feels very it's comfortable. You know, I love creating melodies. I love top lining. That's one of my favorite things. I love harmonies. One of my favorite things. So it's just perfect for me. Is that, you know, and you know, as a collective, it takes out a bit of the graft of promoting it and stuff, which is really nice too. It's a real relief for that to happen. Sergey mainly. Thanks, Sergey. And that's me in a nutshell. I won't tell you much more because it's a long story and people can find out about me if they want online.
Yeah, I've checked your bio and there are a lot of achievements that everyone wants to be on the list as well. Your tracks have some TV appearance on BBC Beatroom and Channel 4, as far as I understand.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, yeah. Channel 4, BBC Beat Room. We've been on, you know, again, we've had a lot of airplay on BBC Radio and internationally. I've had a lot of airplay on you know, radio stations across the world, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I remember, one of your tracks, we are on the top 100 or UK in some field.
It was like a national music project, I suppose you want to call it that. It's funny that they were actually there was like a prize for it, but they were giving it out in crypto. It was like one of the first things one of the first times I'd really seen anything paid in crypto. It was oh my god, what was the currency? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, we lost it all because they disappeared. It's not cool. But no, that was cool. Yeah.
Gotcha, man.
And I've had so when I left I used to be in full-time employment as well alongside all this, which is common. You have to do it, don't you? But when I left to write songs for people who'd lost their loved ones, I ended up writing a song that got to number 3 in the Amazon Music charts. So we released it as a single, and it hit the Amazon Music charts, which is cool.
Yeah, it sounds very awesome. So thank you, Jay, for introducing yourself and giving the audience the perspective about yourself. I think it's good to know that the person like you is on BitClout and talking with us and helping developing the platform. Moreover, you are not just taking part on BitClout, you are doing some projects with other guys like Sergey and Tony Bologna. And now I would like to shift to Tony Bologna. So it's going to be interesting to hear your story as well.
Yeah, maybe not quite as much as Jay. I feel like I'm on the opposite end. Like my music career, if we even want to call it that, is probably more so just getting started. I've been playing around with DAWs, you know, starting with FL Studio since I was about 13 or 14. I spent a lot of time in front of a computer. I used to be really into more hip hop genres and things like that, beats, that sort of thing. So when I was 13 or 14, I picked up FL Studio and I really got into that. But you know, I was just kind of playing around with it. And when I had this is a weird thing that I just can't seem to kind of forget, but in that old version of FL Studio, they used to have loops in there, and one of the loops that was in the samples they had there was a loop of Faxing Berlin from Deadmau5. And I'd never heard of Deadmau5 before. I hadn't really listened to that type of music before. But I came across that loop and was so curious, I searched for what it actually had come from, and found that song, and that song and just that kind of moment, I guess, kind of sent me down a path of being really interested in more so in house music, dance music, and that sort of thing. To this day, it's just it's actually sitting here with me right now. It's it's kind of an inspiration of mine. So I've always been into the idea of kind of creating music, but I'm 29 now, and over all this time, I've kind of been in and out of things like FL Studio and tried some other things. And the past, I'd say 8 or 9 years or so, my main DAW has probably been Ableton. I found Ableton and kind of got a little bit of a new life for production in there. I really just liked how it worked, and liked interfacing like MIDI equipment and stuff with it. I'm not much of a musician. I don't know how to play anything particularly, although I could tell you what the notes on the keyboard are. That's about as much as I know. Major and minor scales maybe, but that's about it. So I really like the way that it worked, being able to kind of quickly interface everything and just kind of play around with it. So I played around with that for a long time, but just never really took it seriously. I've mostly worked most of my life full time. I've had plenty on my plate. So, when music's no joke, if you want to make music that sounds like the professional, so it takes real time and energy to really figure out how to put it together. But all that to say, last year, for me, in the U.S., I'm a licensed realtor, so I was transitioning out of working food and retail, that sort of thing, and getting into more following my passion for web development, things like that, doing contract work, got licensed in real estate. But like a lot of people last year, it kind of fell apart during the spring months, midsummer. As a realtor, I legally wasn't really allowed to do anything in the States. I was on unemployment for a little while. So, I had a lot of time on my hands. People weren't spending money otherwise. So anything else that I had going on kind of came to a halt. So I had a good 3 or 4 months to really decide what I wanted to do, while I wasn't working. And I spent most of that 3 or 4 months in Ableton. A good friend of mine who I have another kind of a duo with called Crossing Borders. We've got one song on Spotify. Got a bunch in the background that we're working on. But as a friend of mine that lives in near Ottawa, Canada, and he's been an audio engineer for 10 years or so. And a friend of a friend kind of put us together one day during quarantine, through Discord. And we sat there for probably a good 5 or 6 hours with him showing me things that I'd never really delved into before, mostly how to use my effects properly, why I'm always having trouble with stereo width and versus mono and these sorts of things that I just, never really took the time to broke down, like, where am I struggling? How could I make things better? That sort of thing. He just kind of ran me through all this. And this was pretty early on in COVID lockdown. And I think I've probably opened Ableton every day since then. I mean, it really just put a fire under me that, I guess I kind of got closer to those things that I always really wanted to make, starting to sound more that way, even though I think I have a long ways to go. I can actually make something at this point and listen to it and really enjoy it, which is something that I, always struggle with, because I think Jay touched on it a little bit. Like, when you're producing by yourself, there's a lot to do. So if you can't really lay out what it is that you want to hear in a manner that's quick enough, and you're not a terribly patient person, it's difficult. It results in a lot of like saving things, or just, exiting out, saying I don't like this anymore. I'm not interested in it, because there's a lot that goes into it. So, and I've always had a large respect for producers, but, through learning what it takes to put real productions together, I've definitely gained even more. So, And you know, the long story short on it's funny because this is actually the first time I've really been in a virtual room per se with Jay and Serge. I think we've talked mostly on Telegram and all know each other through other groups on BitClout. So with I think maybe Tim, who's not here today, kind of maybe connecting us all in this way, or at least he kind of, you know, pulled me into this project. So I appreciate, I'm sure he'll see this, so I appreciate Tim for that. So yeah, so yeah, it's been really nice working with these guys because again, like Jay said, it's a lot of work to do it by yourself, and it's a very, very different experience and a different process to have a group of people where you're all kind of just throwing things, you know, together in this pot. And thank you, Serge, for taking the time to kind of handle the mixing and putting it all together. I think he's got maybe a little bit more work than we do in some sense so far, but appreciate you for it. But it's been really cool to just kind of pass it along. It's like a game of telephone with music, right? You know, starting on one end and ending in another, kind of passing along where we're at and then throwing things on top of it. And it is nice. It's nice to be able to do that and kind of not worry so much about the mix and everything that's going into it, and just have a little bit more fun with it. And you know, so far we've got our one song that I thought was really good. I think we're just going to keep getting better and better, and it'll be cool to see who we can, you know, maybe add to the mix here and there, and just see where it goes. It's been really fun. So yeah, I've got a couple other music projects and things going on, but not many releases under my belt or anything. Still kind of getting to that point. So that's another reason that this has been kind of nice to just have some experience and just to start putting things out there and connecting and doing different stuff. So thank you guys, and thanks for letting me introduce myself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tony Bologna, for this kind of very insightful and very detailed story about yourself. And you know, this is the beautiful side of BitClout, when you have so experienced guys like Jay and Sergey and Tim on BitClout, and you can find a man like you who is not so experienced in music, and you can team up and make something essential and make some good music for others. I think this is the beautiness of BitClout. And as you said, now it is your first time when you are talking to each other via Zoom, and it was just previously it was just discussions in Telegram and so on and so forth. And it's just incredible to see like four people can create something really, really nice, just talking through one chat.
Right.
And this is what I've never seen before. And for me, it's like a revelation to see this kind of interaction between you. Okay, so now we are going to Sergey, and as far as I know, when it is the time to speak in English, he is becoming an introvert, so I'm going to help him to present himself a little bit, and I will ask you a few questions, Sergey, so you can answer and share with the audience what your thoughts and what your plans for the future. So Sergey Masterov is a DJ and sound producer from St. Petersburg. He was engaged in creativity since 2004. He worked on projects for such artists as Andy Panda, High Jimmy Records, Tabal, Anton Yampolsky, Paul, Bukul, Sound Dog Project, and many others. And in 2020 and 2021, he had released 2 albums, as far as I understand. And I would like you, Sergey, to say a few words about your collaborations with Max Garant and Too Long. Is it right, Sergey?
Yeah, Max Garant. Sorry for my English. I can speak Russia, and Alex B translate me, okay? so you
Okay.
can more understand what I can say to you.
I'll try to do my best.
Хорошо, Алекс?
Да.
Еще раз вопрос, который был последний. Немножко не понял по поводу Макса Гаранта или что?
Да, по поводу твоей коллаборации в 2020-2021 году я спросил, что ты хотел бы рассказать об этом?
Ну, во-первых, Макс Гарант — это мой друг, да, с которым я там диджейл в молодости.
So Max Garant is my friend who I met in my childhood.
Как раз-таки, наверное, года с 2010-го.
Что было в 2010 не услышал?
С 2010 года я вместе с ним диджейл в клубе, да, и...
So yeah, he met Max Garant in his youth age, and he was doing DJ work since 2010.
Ну вот, потом так получилось, что я немножко оставил диджеинг. Вообще, изначально началась моя история с музыкой, это музыкальная школа. Начал я играть на балалайке.
Сергей, единственная просьба, слишком глубоко не уходи, чтобы нам слишком не растягивать с переводом. Хорошо?
Окей.
Yeah, so my experience with music begins at my musical school in my childhood. Я сказал про то, что в музыкальной школе.
Ну, далее начал диджеить, увлекаться музыкой, то есть потом я диджеинг немножко оставил и все-таки пошел больше, наверное, в написание музыки.
So after the school, he started doing some DJ stuff and was pretty good at it. And after doing this for some time, he gave up on it and he shifted his activity into more creating music, writing songs.
Ну вот, и в 16-м году я писал как любитель, да, не как артист, наверное, больше, наверное, изучал программы. В 16-м году вот познакомился с Энди Пандой, да, которому я написал первый, грубо говоря, минус за деньги, которые я продал. Ну вот, он же вошел и саундтрек к фильму, к его «Харизма».
Ну вот. In 2016 he met Andy Panda and it was his first track that he made for money. And this track was included in the movie called Charisma.
Вот, и дальше я пробовал, да, коллаборировать, там, учиться у наших российских продюсеров. Ну вот, на самом деле очень глубоко разочаровался, да, и пошел учиться у таких, как раз-таки Deadmau5, да, его курсы
Then
смотрел.
He started to learn from Russian producers and trying to figure it out was the best way to create music. And during this period, he was disappointed about them. And then he moved his attention to learn from guys like Mouse and еще Mouse кого?
Да, и как бы, наверное, потом вот последние 3 года, да, вот за которые мы выпустили с Максом Гарантом некоторые, вот треки, да, которые вышли на Spotify. И вот тогда я могу сказать, что именно дошли до того уровня звука, да, который, так сказать, не стыдно выпустить в свет. Ну вот,
During the last 3 years, he was publishing music with Max Garant, and now he is ensured that they've managed to reach out to the level of music that is that they can produce and post-publish on Spotify shamelessly.
Дальше, да? Немножко мысль немножко сбивается, когда так останавливаюсь.
Ну, просто я сам забуду, что ты сказал.
Да, понимаю. Это самое, так. Ну вот, и у меня такая дальше мысль, как бы больше коллаборировать все-таки с иностранными продюсерами, да, не с российскими, потому что я даже не вижу того самого отклика и цены творчества у нас в России, такого, как есть для меня за рубежом, получается.
And now I've decided that there is no point to collaborate with Russian producers because there is no such value in collaboration with them, and I'm more focused on collaboration with some Western producers and with the world stage at the whole.
Ну вот, и тут подвернулся мне BitClout такой замечательный, да, где у меня появилась возможность познакомиться с больше, да, людьми в творчестве. И я большой интерес проявляю, то есть дальше продвигаться, дальше коллаборировать со всеми, дальше участвовать в каких-то коллаборациях, делать альбомы, писать. Больше все-таки там, чем с Россией.
And then there was a launch of BitClout, which allowed me to meet different musicians from Western industry, and it allows me to pursue what I was looking for, is collaboration with Western producers, musicians, and creating more stuff for the Western direction.
Ну, в принципе, рад, что у нас получилась, да, такая коллаборация, что мы, грубо говоря, связались, так сказать, в единую команду. Я думаю, что, ну, как бы к нам еще, возможно, кто-то со временем присоединится. Я думаю, что, может быть, кто-то из моих российских музыкантов, с которыми я начинал писать и продолжаю, да, сотрудничать именно с теми, которые за творчество, а не за какую-то популяризацию в этом, да, и мы именно, ну, как бы, я с теми людьми, которые за искусство больше всего. Ну, в первую очередь.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to be in this sort of collaboration and working with you, all of you guys. And I think that we might add some new faces to our group in the future, because I have some guests around me who are very great artists, and they are not for some sort of popularization to be famous, but they're more for creativity and creating some great stuff. So, okay, thank you, Sergey, for sharing your story in Russian, and it was a very nice experience for me to try myself as a translator. Guys, I would like to go back to the today's topic is your virtual music collective. And it's interesting to hear the story from you, how it was created. Tony Bologna said that it was team's efforts to put everyone in this group and to move things forward. But I would like to hear your point of view as well. So if you want to share it, Jay, please. I would like to hear it. Jay?
Алекс? Да,
I'm so sorry. I'm just fighting on my computer. Like it's quite weird for me, really, to collaborate, because over my time as a creative and as a musician and as an artist, I've always found it very still trying to find a good word.
Mhm.
Slightly frustrating, because I'm very highly creative. There's this sort of lack of there's this control. I'm probably a control freak as well. I'm an only child. I've no siblings. You know, I grew up feeling like I wanted to control things, and so when it's like, when you're in a group, you know, when you're together in the same room, for example, like with the band, for example, and you just jam in and stuff like that, you can kind of you can direct things a little bit. You know, you'll know this if you've sort of like been in a band or whatever, close-knit band. And over the years, it's been like that. So if I have an idea, I'll be like, okay, we'll work with that. And it kind of shapes the sound and stuff. But with this, because we're sort of all from, you know, culturally, our backgrounds are very different, you know. We've got Russia, we've got America, we've got the UK. They're all very different culturally. And that's something I've never experienced before because I've not really sort of traveled musically. It's always been very local for me. So to do this is such an honor. I cannot express enough how much of an honor it feels to be part of this group of very talented people, clearly talented, because what we've produced just sounds so right, you know. And to release it as well is just like, this is fantastic, you know. It's just a really wonderful thing. And again, the fact that it's so, you know, obviously, you know, Sergey's got experience, I've got experience, and Tony is just, you know, here learning as well. But I'm not saying you don't have experience, of course. But, you know, in regards to like releasing and stuff like that, nowadays it's so much simpler than it used to be. It's so much easier to get your foot in the door and get your stuff on Spotify and get it pushed out on, you know, to a big audience. And that Sergey's audience is huge, which is absolutely amazing. You know, to be working with you, man, is just really lovely. So to produce what we've done together is just awesome. I'm just really proud of us all. I'm really proud of us all. It's just come together so flawlessly, really.
Yeah. Feel free to jump into the conversation, Tony Bologna, if you want. So how many days did it take to produce this song?
It was just one day, wasn't it? Just did it in a day.
Really? One day?
One day, yeah. That's what we tell people, innit, guys? One day. we're a super team. I can't remember. I've lost track of time.
Yeah, maybe like a couple weeks. Does that sound right?
It wasn't long.
No, a couple weeks. And I mean, it's not like I don't think anybody had their nose to the grindstone for weeks. It was just more of like somebody will start it and then package it up, kind of drop it in a folder structure, and then we'll kind of pick it up. So you might even have a few days of just, you know, once the next person in line gets the time, it might take a couple days and throw our stuff over top. So I feel like it was maybe 2 weeks. Certainly not more than 3, I would think, altogether. Yeah, so we had it go. Yeah.
So it was like a more natural process than the idea that you need to come up with track and do it due to deadlines and follow them and so on and so forth. It was like just a natural conversation, natural process when you just let's try it, let's give it a shot, right?
Pass the parcel.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody really wasted time. I think that's maybe a sign that everybody really wants to do it. You know? So that's key, I think, with something like this. You know, so people get busy, but I feel like everybody had theirs done, you know, pretty quickly and moved on. And so far we've got another one cooking, and that seems to be moving along pretty darn well too. So as a standard like release pattern, that'd be pretty spectacular, I think. You know, we get good at it, maybe we could even do it quicker, who knows. I'll say.
Yeah. Sergey, can you turn on your microphone?
Да. Я правильно понял, да, сейчас говорили по поводу того, сколько делался тот трек, да?
Да.
Ну да, примерно Тони Болони правильно говорит, примерно где-то в совокупности, может быть, неделя, полторы, максимум 2, потому что мы передавали друг другу файлы, то есть была очередь по созданию, то есть сначала был создан дроп, по-моему, я был первый, да, потом следующий был Тим.
Я перейду по частям. So yeah, I totally support the words of Tony Bologna, who said that it took like a week or a week and a half, maybe 2 maximum. And it was like we have a process when someone created a job, and then we just give the track or some part of it to each other. Then we proceed with every part of it. That's okay.
Ну вот, потом, по-моему, следующий был Тим, потом Джей записал вокал, и Тони Балони был последним, да, после чего я уже делал мастер-трек полностью, и уже, то есть после согласования, так сказать, всей команды, да, что это то, ну вот, мы решили его выпустить.
Yeah, so we created a drop, then Tim has edited the music and Jay edited the vocal side of the song, and then we gave it to Tony Bologna, who did his part of a job, and then Sergey just mixed it and combined it, and so yeah, the track was ready, and now the track is ready, and the track is released on different platforms as far as I understand, right? So it's
Right.
YouTube,
Yeah.
Spotify.
Spotify, Amazon, Deezer.
Oh, cool. And what is the name of the track?
Playing games.
Play games.
And I think this is a good time to demonstrate it, to present it to the audience.
Playing
Alright.
games.
All right, 1 second. Share sound.
Hit it, Tony.
Hit it.
Woo!
Awesome.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Вот я сейчас слушаю, да, и ну, я думаю, что со мной согласятся и Джей, и Тони Балони, что вот всегда так, когда вроде сделал работу, выпустил ее, а в итоге потом хочется ее немножко доделать или переделать. Вот сейчас вот перед выходом на второй дроп хотелось что-то уже немножко по-другому сделать.
Yeah. So now I'm listening. Sergey is saying that now I'm listening to the track, and I think Tony Bologna and Jay will agree with me on the fact that when you have released something like a track, you always can find something that you would correct or make it better. And now I hope that we'll be doing the second track, and we'll do maybe something a little bit different in some sense as well.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So, Tony Bologna, could you switch off screen sharing? Thank you. Yeah, so for me, this track is absolutely success. Now, when I was listening now, I had two opposite feelings. The first one was I wanted to dance, so it was like really party. Yeah. It was a track for party and for dancing for sure. And the other thing that I thought, it won't bother me if it will be playing while I'm going to sleep, because it's quite rhythmic and calm, I think. And I don't know, and I really don't know how these two things can match each other in one track. So this
Sleep
is
dancing. It's a new thing.
Sleep dance. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'd call that a success then. That's a great blend of feelings to have.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoy it. It's this kind of track I can put on during the party. I can put it during driving the car, and just when I have some maybe sad feelings, it goes with every state of mind that you have, from my point of view. It's pretty
Appreciate
good.
that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it makes you feel like that, because I think that kind of shows that, because it's pulling together all our creative reasons to create, I suppose, because for me, when I create anything, I'm an emotional, sensitive guy. So if when I sing, it's always from the heart, or it's sensitive, or it's an emotional sounding thing. But then when you've got like you might have the flowing, trippy undertones of that. So when you get locked into a beat, that's obviously a different feeling. And the fact that you've said that, I feel like that too about the song. Genuinely, that's awesome. Is that?
Yeah, you're saying very, very true thing that this track allows you to go within the flow and just forget about everything else. You just sing the track, and it's really awesome. So guys, I hope that you will proceed with creating your tracks, and I hope this group that was created on BitClout, and as far as I know, this is the first ever BitClout group which was created on BitClout, where people met on BitClout. They didn't know each other before, and they created something stunning. I think this is the first experience of BitClout. I hope that dev team or someone else will see it and will give you deserved attention to this track and to your group. Maybe suggest some sort of collaborations further. I hope so, because I think you're doing a great job, really. And I'm just dying to see your next things that you're working on.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So guys, do you have any final words before we are going offline?
Keep your ears clean.
Wear earplugs. Yeah. I don't wear earplugs.
Сергей, ты хотел бы что-нибудь добавить в конце?
Что еще раз?
Ну, перед тем, как мы прекратим стрим, ты бы хотел что-нибудь добавить?
Конечно. Ждите наших новых треков. Да, мы сейчас планируем выпустить альбом, наверное, к ноябрю, если у нас получится. Сейчас ребята ждут от меня окончательную версию следующего трека для согласования. Так что ждем наших новых работ и творческих нам успехов. Очень рад.
So, Sergey's final words are, please wait our next tracks. We hope that we are going to launch our album by November, if everything goes right. And the guys are waiting for my part of a track that I'm going to provide soon. And
Come on. Hurry up, Sergey.
I
so
not
thank you
have
guys.
free time. I not have. Sorry, please, guys.
It's okay.
A bit white, a bit.
Oh, thank you guys for joining us today. I think this is the phenomena that we've explored today, and I hope your creativity and your tracks will be released soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, and thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it.